It's the start of a new year, so that means it's also time for a new Harlan Coben mystery on Netflix. This time, it's Missing You. Surprise, surprise, once again it features Richard Armitage. Now, aside from that strangeness, is the limited series worth this binge? 11 years ago, Detective Kat Donovan's fiancé Josh disappeared, and she's never heard from him since. Now, swiping profiles on a dating app, she suddenly sees his face, and her world explodes all over again. Josh's reappearance will force her to dive back into the mystery surrounding her father's murder and uncover long-buried secrets from her past. So in addition to featuring Armitage, this 5-episode miniseries stars Rosalind Eleazar, who was also in Slow Horses, Ashley Walters, James Nesbitt, Steve Pemberton, Mary Malone, and Jessica Plummer. Like many of Coben's mysteries, this one has offshoots that work in additional story complications, with the secondary arc being the search for a missing man and woman, who they're completely unrelated to each other, but they disappeared around the same time. And intertwined within the missing people search and Kat Donovan's search for her fiancé, who up and vanished, are relational dramas that play into some of the larger story significance. Okay, I'm not even going to keep up a pretense that this series is good. I was so pissed at the end of this because one arc is a complete waste of time, even though it had the potential to be a much more intriguing mystery. The storyline about the missing woman and man and D.I. Donovan's search for them has all of the components to be riveting. There's peril, treachery, isolated locations, cagey individuals, and a seemingly strong motive. But, and I can't stress how big this but is, Sir Mix-a-Lot would be just so happy. The story, it presents us with a baddie who is disturbingly menacing, but without any explanation or impetus for why they're doing what they're doing. There is a simple reason that can be applied, but it's weak for a mystery series, playing on rote and generic tropes that you'd find in any half-wit's attempt at misdirection. And when this particular case reaches its climax, it's just over and forgotten, leaving us as the audience to wonder why we even spent the time we did following this storyline. I was invested in learning more about how and why the people disappeared, but it's a clean, frustrating, and ultimately pointless time waster. And then the other main arc is the mystery of what happened to Donovan's fiancé, mixed with her working to get answers to why her father had been killed many years before. Now for me, this was the least interesting plot within the show. We're given mournful and longing looks from Donovan as flashbacks appear on the screen, showcasing snippets of her relationship with Josh. He's a stranger, and simply based on the fact that he up and ghosted her, he's not really a good guy. So it's very difficult to get behind her pining over him. And because we also aren't fully introduced to the story of her father, her search to satisfy her curiosity on why he was killed, despite having a confessed killer locked away, it's thin and slowly evolved. Every now and then, small moments will pop in that raise up some intrigue, but then they're squashed back down, again with either the errant disappearing people storyline or some random relational drama between Donovan and her friends. I was actually excited to see this because I have liked some of the other Coben Mystery limited series, and I also enjoy Rosalind Eleazar in Slow Horses. I was looking forward to her leading this cast, but the writing drastically lets her down and the weakly put together plots. I'd like to see more from her, especially because in this, she's mostly teary-eyed and overwhelmed with grief, with the story not giving her a lot of leeway for any other emotive expression. There are also way too many plot conveniences for this to become invested in. Characters are allowed to do actions that simply just don't line up with logic. And I'm willing to overlook minor offenses, but when one of the arcs fully relies on a character breaking into a DI's home, and then that same DI then offering to help, along with the perp having carte blanche to enter and examine certain areas, I really do have to call BS. All right, I'm not going to waste any more of your time. Missing You misses the mark by convoluting storylines and adding in arcs that lead nowhere, other than added time. The acting is sufficient, but each character is let down by the lack of story, putting weight on unintriguing elements and then refusing to provide necessary development. The entire production feels rushed and haphazardly slapped together, wasting not only the time of the actors, but the audience as well. There's no sex or nudity, some profanity, and some violence. I give Missing You 2 out of 5 couches. This is not the way I wanted to start off the new year. Ha! But hey, if you're really in the mood for a Harlan Coben mystery, I suggest giving The Five or The Innocent a go. They're much more worthy of a watch. All right, so do you enjoy any of these types of contained mystery series? What's one that you've loved? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this review, please give it a like. Also, don't forget to share and subscribe. I'm Chris. This is Movies and Munchies. Thanks for couching with me.